enjoy this tasty food. I worked hard in that kitchen preparing. Uh, Listen, we're going to move right into the presentation of our speaker, and then there's activity on the heels of her presentation. Happy to have Miss Tanya back. She was here with us last year, and I just want to emphasize the fact she's an elected official in our community. And this it kind of reflects on how important it is for us to start thinking about registering to vote and reaching out to those family members of ours, friends and family members who may not be registered, to let them know how important it is to get in a position where they can exercise their right to vote. As a result of the previous election, Ms. McKenzie was elected as the city assessor, or county, is it? County assessor, and she is doing a marvelous job, has some great information for us this afternoon. And so without any further ado, I want to present to you Ms. Tanya McKenzie, Washita County Assessor.
I'm going to try to work this. I don't like microphones, but I'll do my best. I want to thank Pastor Franklin for inviting me to come back out to speak to you all again this year. Last year, around the same time I came, I had just been elected, which was kind of a shock to me. So I had to take in a lot all at once. And I spent a majority of last year just learning my job because I want to be very knowledgeable about what that office do. Doing abstracts, that has a lot to do with the money and how it's divvied out. And I needed to know exactly what I was doing. I didn't want to put that responsibility on anyone else in the office. I had someone that was doing it. I needed to know because it's my responsibility because my signature was on it. So I took a lot of time last year just learning my job, making sure that my staff was retrained in areas that they needed to be familiar with on their job. And it was a lot. It was a lot of responsibility. It is a lot of responsibility. So I don't take it lightly when people say you're not doing anything in the office. It's a whole lot that we do in the office that people do not know. And just when you come in there and you see somebody sitting behind the desk, it doesn't mean that they're not working. It's a lot behind the scene that we have to make sure is done, that is sent to the state of Arkansas, to the Arkansas Department of Education, because a majority of the funds that are given in taxes go to our school systems. I'm going to say that again because that's very important. A majority of our taxes that you're paying on your personal property, real estate, goes to our school systems. And then, there are funds that goes to like the city, county, firefighters, the library, roads, but a majority of that goes to our school. Our school is a primary foundation within the community, in any community. If you do not have a good school system or a school period in your city, it's going to die. And we are at that moment with our school. We have to support our school or schools. We have to support them, be it supporting the teachers. And everybody needs help. There could be some teachers that need help. But if we lose the school, we have lost a part of this city that it's going to take a long time to get back if the state ever comes in and takes it. So we just need to think about that um, and find ways that we can, if we can, support them, through mentoring, whatever we can do. Let's try to support them to get our school back to where it should be, because they are receiving a lot of funds um, that that they need. Um, like I said, the first year it was a very strenuous process, because I had people um, that would come in the office and not be very professional. And these are professional people within the community that would yell and scream at my staff, and just was real rude in telling us we didn't know what we was doing. You don't have the education, you don't this, you don't that. So it got to a point with me that I said, okay, enough is enough. And I had to think about how to approach it, because you have to, when you respond to things, you have to do it professionally and be respectful. So I came up with, what I call the Beatitudes. And I made a sign to go on my door about being respectful, being humble, being kind, understanding. When you come in, it's a way that you talk to people. It's the way that you approach them. Do not belittle them, because believe it or not, those ladies in that office go to trainings to learn their job. They go get certifications that are national certifications that they can use anywhere in the United States. They are even taking classes. Some of them will be now to be licensed real estate agents. I am trying to get them to the point that if I'm not there and whoever takes over, if they do not keep them, they will have enough education under their belts to go get a job anywhere that they want to go. And that's how you build in your career. I'm not there for me, because I have the degrees. I can go anywhere and get a job. I'm there for them because I want them educated as women. I want them to know their job. I don't want people to think that they don't know their job, because they do. Especially like with deeds. One thing I wanted to really stress here as well is with our property. If you have any type of property and you have a deed to it, you need to make sure that the legal description on your deed is thorough. If you have not got a survey done, you need to do that, because a survey is going to tell you where your boundary lines are on your property. The legal description gives you a detailed map of how those lines run, okay? And when we map it, I have a young lady, all three of them, I have one that has been mapping for years before I got there. The other two are starting, they're learning now. So we pretty soon, before the end of this year, we will have 3 mappers, GIS mappers in the office who can map your legal deeds. And they can show you, once they map it and get the lines, they can show you the outline of your property. But we cannot give out that as a legal survey. We can give you the picture of it mapped, but we have to put not a legal survey on it, because we're not licensed as surveyors. Only a survey can give you the legal outlines of it. But if you have never had a survey, I would advise everybody to get a survey. That's just me, knowing what I know now. We're going back, we have gone back. Last year, I'll say 80% of the time we spent in the office with real estate was working on stuff that may have been 20 years old, moving forward, trying to correct it. A lot of it had to do with the legal descriptions on the deeds. So if when you have time, if you have your deed, if you don't have your deed, come up to the courthouse and get a copy of it. So you will know what is on your deed, how it reads, the legal description, and try to get a survey. Some of them can be expensive, but it's worth the money for you to know what is yours, because that's how a lot of people's land and property is taken, because they have no clue. A couple other things: homestead credits. Homestead credit went up last year. They passed a law that increased the amount you get from $375 to $425. So from now, it started last year. The bill you get this year for 2023 will have a $425 homestead credit if you have a primary residence here in the county, and you can only get one homestead for the state. But if you have a $325 bill, it will end up being zero that you would have to pay, because that $425 will wipe it out totally in your homestead taxes. Also, if you are 65 and over, you can put a freeze on the value of your property, where the taxes will not go up if there's an increase. But if you do any type of modifications to the home, it takes the freeze off. Modifications or increases. So if you have not froze the value on your property, 65 and over, please call up to the real estate office and let them know so that we can get that taken care of for you. Also, are there any disabled veterans? Okay, disabled vets, you can do this as well. I know the collector's office normally take care of your information, but the freeze we would have to put on there. Okay. Any business owners in here? Anybody know business owners? Okay, we decided to do, or I did, something a little different this year with the business owners. Each business owner has a business rendition form that they have to complete every year. A lot of businesses do not know that, and so if you know any business owners, let them know to contact us, because they have to complete a property rendition form. They've been doing it for years, just writing it out or filling out the form and turning it in. This year, we moved to online for a lot of them, because it's so much easier for them to do it online. But we still will do if they walk in, to assist them. Mainly my seniors that have businesses, I'm doing that for them only. Because I have a heart for seniors, but I will assist them in any way I can. But that's something new that we're starting this year that will help us make sure that we get all the businesses. Again, those are those property taxes coming in for our schools. So my job is just to make sure I have all of them accounted for, because again, I'm promoting funds for the schools. That's what I'm supposed to do. And then the other thing that is real important, they passed a law last year about sales tax. When your land go to the state, when the delinquent taxes. Okay, they have a law that was passed that if your land is delinquent and it goes to the state and it is auctioned off, you do not get the privilege of redeeming that land once it's auctioned. They're not giving any more grace periods for you to redeem it back. The last day that you will have to redeem your land is the day before the auction at 4:30. If it's not bought back by then and it's sold, if it goes to the auction and someone purchases it, at that point it is legally that person's property. You can't get it back. So, if you know family members, friends, whoever, they put out a list every single year. Every single year. It will be on the state, Arkansas State Land Commission website every single year. That website is cosl.org. It's on there every single year. You can see who's delinquent. If you go on there and see someone you know, people don't want you to be in their business, but it's public. I mean, you're not in their business at that point, right? It's public information. Just kind of say in a nice way, because we're losing a lot of land for $50, for $80, for $100. Some of the land that's on this site is delinquent for small, minute amounts of money. And they're losing 5, 10, 20 acres of land. Do you know how valuable land is? Not just monetary wise, but if this is land that has been passed down from generation to generation, you would never get that back. That's a lot of history. That's a lot of hard work that ancestors put in so that we could have. So if you know, the auction this year is going to be August 15th. They used to have an auction here every year in the county. Last year, it was a lot happening last year. A lot of things switched up last year. Last year, they moved to regional auctions, which means that Dallas, Ouachita, and I believe Calhoun, they will auction off all their land at one time in Arkadelphia at Henderson State University. That's where the auction will be from now on for Ouachita County. In Arkadelphia at Henderson State University at Garrison Hall. And it will be August the 15th of this year when it is held. Once the list is provided, we run about 100 to 200 copies at the office. So if you want a list so you can see what's on there, just call up to the office maybe around, I'll say June, the first week of June. They should have the list published online as to who's delinquent where and how much. It gives everything, how much land, where it's located. The only thing I would advise on, if you're interested in buying like delinquent land, to make sure that you have an idea of where this land is located. Because a lot of people will buy this land and have no clue where it's located. And then you're going to have a whole nother issue, because if you don't know where it's located, we have to locate it. Sometimes we can with the GIS, sometimes we can't, based on the legal descriptions, because the legal descriptions are not very good. And then that's where we would either have to get the county surveyor to go out, or you would have to hire a surveyor to go out and find that property. So there's a lot of there's a lot of good with buying the land as well, but the one they had this past year that I went to in Arkadelphia, because I wanted to see how it was going to operate me in multiple counties, it went very well. It went very quick. You have to know what you're bidding on when you get there. Otherwise, you just lost. Because it's going to go super fast. You have to pay at the end of it. Soon as you buy it, you have to pay. So you just need to have all the ducks in a row when you go, um, because if you don't, then they're gonna give it to the next, person or whatever with the land. Is there? Do y'all have any? I know that's a lot. Do y'all have any questions for me? It's tax season as well. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. It's just the past taxes due, which could be $50. I mean, it goes as low as sometimes 50. It could be 1,000, depending on how the bids go. Yeah, it can get up there, but you're not gonna end up paying more. Um, Say you paid 5,000, you may have enough land that you bought 10 acres. That's nothing for 10 acres of land. $5,000. Any more questions? Yes, sir. You just have to be a primary resident in the county, like your main home that you live in, and just bring your. We'll give you a homestead credit application to fill out, and just send it back in, or you can fill it out at the office and they'll apply it. But you have to do that if you don't have homestead currently. You have to do it before October 15th. Otherwise, it won't apply until the follow, like 2025. Any other questions?
What is one thing homeowners could do to make sure that who they want to inherit their land? How can you check and make sure that it's properly being?
Okay, the question was how can you check and make sure who's gonna inherit? That goes into like if you don't have a will, it might be a good time to try to get one together. And we don't think about those things, or sometimes that's taboo in our community. We don't want to think about it because we feel like that's never going to happen. And then when it does happen and we don't have it together, then it's a whole mess. So, just take some time sometime and just sit down and write out what you want your wishes to be. It's okay to talk about it. We're all going to leave here one day. We are. So we need to have our business in order when it comes to land. If we have land and stuff, sit down and write out what you want your wishes to be. The only way we can change a deed is if it's deeded to someone else. If they don't deed it by the time that they pass away, then we have to go through a whole nother process. If there's no will, you have to do a affidavit of heirship that's filed in the courthouse, because then we have to identify every heir that is privy to that land. And we just can't change a deed by you walking in and saying, I want this land. We can't do it that way. We have to have paperwork. We have to have documentation. I know years and years ago, probably when I was a young girl, that's the way they used to do the land in the office, by people just coming up and saying, and we should not have done that, because it's caused a lot of problems and issues, especially with heirs coming back in. And with the affidavit of heirship, it has to go from sister, brother, it could be children of a deceased sister. It's a lot. So make your wishes known. If you do a will, you can file it. You can file it. It could be a legal document. I would notarize it if it was me. Anything like that, I would get notarized. saying, you know, that it was brought, this is a legal document. But that's one way. So just make sure, and then you can deed, you know, there are different types of deeds you can do, which you're not giving up your ownership at the present. But if something happened to you, this is what you want to happen. So you could call us and we can tell you what's, you know, the different types of deeds or um, paperwork that you need to do. Because I've learned a lot about minerals, and you know there's going to be a big lithium. They're digging for lithium out in Stevens and El Dorado, those ways. So there's getting ready to be a lot that's coming into, hopefully, funding that's coming into the county from that. I have some ladies going to a conference. Exxon is holding a big conference in Little Rock Thursday and Friday on the lithium. And they're going to that conference because we need to know what is going on with that for our county. And if you're not there, what's the saying? If you're not at the table, you don't know. Anybody can tell you anything. So there's a lot with minerals, especially with selling land that I found out. You can sell, did you know you can sell what's on top of the ground, but you can still control the rights of what's under there? Did you know that when you sell your land? You didn't know that? I didn't either. I found that out last year. You can keep the rights under the ground and just sell what's on top. So there's a lot with this land stuff that we need to know. Yes, ma'am. Mhm. Mhm. I mean, that's your money. It's $1, but it's still your money. Um, Minerals are tricky, and a lot of people don't have mineral rights. So if you have them, don't get rid of them. Do not get rid of them because you never know. Like with this lithium, people didn't know that that was going to end up coming through here, but it is. And if they have mineral rights, that's a lot of funding, not only for them, but again for the county as well. So if it's something that you have questions on about land, please come up to the office before you sign anything or call and ask questions because you can give away a lot of your rights just not knowing about stuff. Okay? Any other questions? Okay. Well, that's all that I have. I don't speak long. I just get to the point. But again, if y'all have questions, call us. That's what we're there for. I have enjoyed serving you all this first year. I got 3 to go, and maybe 4 more. We don't know, but thank y'all.